Welcome to another episode of the Greatness Engineering Hour. And it is a pleasure to be with you today again. And today we are in Africa. We're going to Kenya. And we're going to talk about a festival that is happening, in May. You probably heard about this festival before, but we will have the opportunity to really get to talk about it. So just to give you a little bit of background, so the festival that we're going to talk about is the FESTAC Africa. It is the revival of the FESTAC Africa. It used to be a very big, festival, had some, a few years without having it, and now it's being revived. And my guest today is engineer Yinka Abioye. Is currently the chairman of the FESTAC Africa. And we're going to talk about, get to understand what's going to happen, as part of this festival, and what are the key things that this festival is going to bring to us, and really understand what are the objective and the vision, and what's going to be the breakthrough for Africa with this festival. So let us know where you're watching from. My name is Mireille Tulekima. You know me as the Greatness Engineer. I hope you have your pen, paper, and everything, and you're going to share as well if you're watching live with your audience, with your friend, because we're going to talk about a great event today, and I don't want you to miss out. So let us know where you're watching from if you're watching live, and don't hesitate to ask any question to my guest today. We're more than happy to have you participate and really, give us your insight or ask any question regarding this particular event. So I'm gonna bring him now, but before I do so, I just want to put a little bit of music and let you sit down properly and get ready for the amazing conversation that we're gonna have today. So don't go anywhere. We are starting. Another episode of the Greatness Engineering Hour show, the show that is brought to you by the Mireille Tulekima Global Leadership Organization.
Real is important is if you just look at the word compassion, it's behavior. It's something that can be learned, and it is something that we can embody through habits and through our daily actions.
To get this idea that if we interject this wisdom intentionally, I call them needle movers. It's the needle mover that's missing.
Don't deprive the world of your greatness. Please. Don't do that anymore. Dare to excel, dare to be sexy, dare to be you, dare to be the best version of yourself. Impact yourself positively, and from there impact others, and you are not alone.
So, welcome to the Greatness Engineering Show today, Engineer Yinka. Welcome, and it is a pleasure to have you today. And we're really excited. I'm really excited about the conversation to know a little bit about, the FESTAC Africa and what's coming up in May, this grand event that is coming up in May. So, but before we get to this stage, just want you to introduce yourself. Let us know who you are and anything that is important for us to know about you before we get into knowing a little bit more about the festival.
Thank you very much, Muriel. Thanks for the invitation. As you can see, the name is Engineer Yinka Abioye. I guess the first thing I would say is that, yes, I'm the chairman of the FESTAC Africa Festival. I actually grew up as an engineer. I was a chemical engineer. A lot of industries I've worked in, pharmaceuticals, oil and gas, solvents, plastics, and on and on and on. But having worked and lived around Africa for decades and see what the continent needs in terms of coming together is the basic reason why we reinvent and came up with the FESTAC Africa Festival to pick up where our fathers left off in 1966 and 1977. So it's a pleasure to be here. I'm looking forward to the conversation and to sharing what's going on with everybody in the world about FESTAC Africa Festival. Thank you.
Fantastic. So, I mean, the first thing is, for me to know, what is really Festa Africa. So, you talk about a revival, but what is it first, and then what are you trying to achieve? While bringing this to us and I think to the world. At the end of the day, it might be happening in Africa, but it's really to bring to the world and showcase, what can be done. So, just give us a little bit about, tell us a little bit about this festival.
The objective of FESTAC Africa Festival is oneness, one Pan-African, one people all over the world. FESTAC actually dates back to the early 60s, when our fathers, post-colonization, were looking at how do we remove the colonial lines between all the countries. And I said that because those lines actually don't really exist, but we were told they exist. And the first thing they needed to do was to remove the fact that there's really no line between us. That was the whole idea behind FESTAC. It was the thing to say, okay, once our people realize there's really no lines, we can travel back and forth within our countries or our one country called Africa. We can get to another better, get along better, and eventually trade and grow the continent. The first festival was done by His Excellency Leopold Sedar Senghor in Senegal in 1966. That's why they held the first one. It was held for a month of April in 1966. There was other countries that need to step up in continuing the festival as a nomadic way to get people to know one another. Nigeria was to be next. Unfortunately, Nigeria had a civil war in 1967 that lasted for about 4 years. Because of that, they couldn't hold the festival. Thankfully, His Excellency President Olusegun Obasanjo in 1977 took it upon himself and said, this whole idea of Pan-Africanism, African emancipation needs to happen first from decolonization and from people coming together as one. So the second festival was held 11 years later in January of 1977 in Nigeria and around Nigeria. 77 was very big. 77 was, say it loud and black and proud. If you remember that back from the James Brown era. 7 was also post-apartheid, post Rhodesia African struggle. So it was a time for all of us to come together in the world. In 1977, the festival was extremely big. There were 29 head of states that came into Nigeria that 1 month. So you can imagine the importance put behind this festival. There was over 16,000 participants of different facets of the festival: cultural artists, musicians, poets, that actually came into Nigeria for that 1 month. Nigeria actually built the National Theatre for this event. They also built a village of
Mm-hmm.
between 3 to 4,000 homes to welcome and host the people that came in for the festival. It was a time where a lot of people come together worldwide to do collaboration, understand and appreciate one another better. I guess the 1977 event was so big that the festival actually died for 45 years.
Wow.
As an organization, our passion is togetherness and Pan-Africanism. And we've actually tried to revive coming together prior to, I would say, prior to COVID,
Mm-hmm.
2017, 16. One of the things we thought about doing was to do bilateral programs so countries can start knowing one another. We started with South Africa and we kind of
Mm-hmm.
modeled behind Nigeria because Nigeria being the dominant nation in terms of population, it's always fun to put any country against Nigeria in sports,
Mm-hmm.
especially if it's sports that they can beat Nigerians on. So
Mm-hmm.
for example, if you take South Africa and you say, come and play rugby against Nigeria, and you know they'll be so happy because they know they will beat Nigeria. So what we did was we said the first thing the continent needs, we don't need to make it, if we make it too serious, it loses its values. So we
Mm-hmm.
use the names of these countries. In the first one we did, the nickname of South Africa is Mzansi. Nigeria is called Niger. So we created a
Mm-hmm.
platform called Mzansi Niger to bring people together for a weekend from those three
Mm-hmm.
countries, go back and forth annually, for them through sports, entertainment, and laughing and coming and camaraderie, will get together, improve relations, and then possibly trade, help our continent from this so-called 15% intra-African trade that we've been stuck on for the last 3 decades or more.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
we did South Africa for a few years. And then we did Ghana, we called it Ashanti Niger. Then we picked from became East Africa, we did Arambi Niger, which is Arambi is the nickname of Kenya. We did the first one in 2019 and trying to go back and forth. We also at that time realized that whenever we did a bilateral, we were not able to get the other countries to come in because they look at
Mm-hmm.
it more bilateral than a trilateral or global event. Unfortunately, after the 2019 COVID hit, and
Mm-hmm.
when COVID hit, we sat back and said, you know what, the world has lost a lot. Africa lost some, and there is a need for us to in bringing what is being done together. So we then went to the platform and said, you know what, let's go for the whole continent and even possible the diaspora. And that was
Mm-hmm.
why we went into FESTAC Africa to use that as a platform to bring everybody together, Pan African. And we've done it. We've done two of them. We are coming up on the third one, and it's been wonderful.
Fantastic, and that's really what we're trying, trying to see now, making sure that African come together, and having the diaspora participating, because sometimes they are a bit forgotten when everything is happening on the continent. So it is really a good thing to revive this spirit and bringing it to life. But why, because you chose Kisumu as the city to have this event. Is there any particular reason or any particular any particular reason why Kisumu and why Kenya?
Interesting. So let's go back to 66 Senegal,
Mm-hmm.
77 Nigeria, because this thing came after 22 was right after COVID. Actually, was kind of in the middle of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Back then, Tanzania was more open during and post COVID than most other countries. Our
Mm-hmm.
fear was that if we didn't want to wait until the end of COVID to do what we had to do. So we wanted to start. We then said, okay, if we start this program and we spent our money and time, which country is likely not to close the door if something
Mm-hmm.
happens? and we picked Tanzania. And interestingly, if you remember, in the January of 2022, there was Omicron. So
Mm-hmm.
if we've actually picked other countries at that time, possibly the festival would not have held. So because Tanzania was welcoming, especially Zanzibar, because it's an island of mostly tourism, it was the
Mm-hmm.
right place to go in and do the festival. And the other reason for after the first time was to say we actually wanted to incubate the festival in one location for a while to get momentum similar to your 66 and 77. We believe the event in January excuse me, in 2022 went so well that
Mm-hmm.
people in Tanzania were suggesting that, okay, yes, you did on the island, can you try the mainland also?
Mm-hmm.
So that was why we went to Arusha after the on the second one. And by the time we did the second one, we felt comfortable enough that we actually knew what we were doing, that we could start migrating. But we're also careful not to jump to West Africa because
Mm-hmm.
66 was West Africa, 77 was West Africa. So even if we need to go back to West Africa, what would have been great is to go back to Senegal in 2026 and do 60 years of 1966 and do Nigeria 2027, 50 years of 77, and then move around the country, the continent again. So in our quest to stay in one area, in areas other than West Africa, Kenya came up. And I will also
Mm-hmm.
say one of the reasons why Kenya came up is because over the last 3 years, we've written to government, be it county, be it community, be it local government, or be it even the national government of a lot of countries that we have written to for their participation. Um, there were the last one we did in 2023. There were three counties that responded to us from Kenya. One
Mm-hmm.
of them responded to appreciate what we're doing. Another one responded by sending one participant. But Kisumu as a county, because the governor is a big believer in arts and culture, actually sent a team of over 20 people that came in. As what we heard, that he was actually going to come to the festival himself. Unfortunately, he
Mm-hmm.
had to make last minute trip, so he couldn't come. So because of that, Kisumu stood out on our mind. As we were picking the places to go also, the reason why we picked Arusha in 2023 was the location Arusha being the center for EAC and a
Mm-hmm.
place where people in East Africa can travel. But we also realized that Kisumu is also by the lake, which borders other countries and a
Mm-hmm.
lot of countries around there. It's a big cultural and geopolitical location in terms of the equator and all the stories and histories behind the Kisumu area. Being a cultural area, we want to focus more on the culture. We
Mm-hmm.
don't necessarily always want to go to the capital city because this is about culture. We want to go into inland and bring people together to also see the inner parts of our country, our countries and continent, because
Mm-hmm.
a big part of FESTAC Africa is travel and tourism. We want you to see
Mm-hmm.
the beauty of the continent. So hence we picked Kisumu.
Fantastic, and it is actually important because to go inside, some of the country, because of, like you said, if we go to the big cities, most of the people know the big cities, especially the diaspora, and then, but for us diaspora, sometimes we don't really know the deep, ends of our own countries, because every time we go back we stay in the city and we don't really get the opportunity to go into regional or even villages to really get a sense of the real culture in our own countries. So we're going to have a break and then we will be back to get more information about the festival and really understand what are the needs at this stage, and really the different programs, have a little bit of insight on the different program that you're gonna propose to people who are going to join that are going to come for the festival. So don't go anywhere. For those joining us today, my guest is Engineer Yinka Abioye, and he is the chairman of FESTAC Africa. FESTAC Africa being a festival who is being revived. And I hope that you have the opportunity after this show to really, start thinking about joining and start thinking about packing your bags to be there in May when the festival will take place. So, but don't go anywhere. We will be back in few minutes.
Hello, everyone. My name is Yinka Abioye, and I'm the chairman of the FESTAC Africa Festival. We've got a great week planned for you in the beautiful city of Kisumu in Kenya from the 20th to the 26th of May 2024. We cannot wait to have you out there, and we invite everyone, not only on the African continent, but on the diaspora. It's an opportunity for all of us to come together once again, as we do every year, to celebrate Africa Month, and especially Africa Day, which is the last week of May. We have a great program planned for you. Culture and arts is the base of our getting together. So there will be culture and arts from all over the world, especially from all the 47 counties of Kenya and all the 8 countries of East Africa, and of course the other African continents, as well as our friends and families out of the Caribbean. But the week is not only about culture and arts, because that's the basic thing that brings all of us together. We actually use that as a platform to bring all of us together in doing more than that. It's a week packed with a lot of information for us to learn. The event is planned and scheduled to capture any part of our lives. The old, the young, the male, the female, the youth. There's always something in there for everyone.
So there's always something in there for everyone. So give us a little bit more detail on that. What are we going to have, and, and see, what is the target market here for this festival?
I believe the target market is everybody. And somebody once asked, why all of this work? As Africans, we've got so much to do that if we limit the opportunity, we might leave somebody out. And that's why we went out and say, you know what, let's get opportunity for everybody to participate. And over time, each one of the segments that we'll have will be growing as needed to move. In 1966 and 77, it was a lot about culture, music, art, poetry, and all that kind of stuff. There were 2 things specifically that were not done in 60 and 77 that we emphasized in specifically. And everything we have planned kind of revolves around those 2 things. Number 1 is inter-Africa trade. We infuse that intentionally in the program to make sure we do not stop talking about trade. Number 2 are the children, and I would say the youth. In 1966-77, the youth participated more as spectators with their parents. But what we've done specifically is actually input youth program so that we can take a platform to get our youth to come together. Maybe while they are playing together, they learn about the cultures, about togetherness, and they can know that the continent is actually one, which can give us value in the future. Let me talk about the program for the youth first, because the majority of the other things revolve around inter-Africa trade and businesses. We are using 3 platforms to welcome the youth. Number 1, STEM education. We believe it's very important for our children to be educated. And STEM not only stands with sciences, it is a state of mind. So we want education to be a big part, and we also try to make education fun. By making it fun, it gets most of our children to be interested in it. The number 2 thing we're using is sports. We have a lot of different types of sports, and sport camps bringing in sports stars, heroes to motivate the children to also use sports not only as health for them, but also as opportunity, either professionally or as a medium of coming together. Because when you play sports, you help one another, you touch one another, you become soft and you become friends. And a lot can come out of the time spent on sports. The last thing we're using with the kids is our movie industry. The movie industry in Africa is big, especially with Nollywood. So we are doing a big thing, bringing all the other woods or all the other um, movie industry around Africa to and then use that to also educate our children. Interestingly, people in Hollywood have heard that of what we are doing. Bollywood also heard of what we are doing, so they're also going to be part of the movie scene. I believe we've got about 56 African movies that's going to be premiered for now, and the number is still growing. We've got two or three from Hollywood, and we've got 15 movies from Bollywood. And actually, one of them was recorded in Kisumu. So we
Wow.
believe that with those, our children will be covered. We're also going to have an area on the playground dedicated for children to have fun for the whole week. So it will be another attraction to bring the kids around, mingle with adults, learn togetherness, learn oneness, learn one Africa. In regards of the other one, which is the business side comes in different phases. We have the exhibition center that we have sections to exhibit fintech, medical, health, banking, retailing, different types of what we do in terms of exhibition, all in one. So you will come in, you will have a map that tells you what sections are. You can plan because the whole week. You can plan to see a Greek this day and you can see something tomorrow while you are enjoying the arts and culture and meeting people from all over the world. I'm going to take the time to look through because the list is plenty and I don't want to miss one of them. So I have a list here. I'm going to touch on
Okay.
them very quickly for you to get a good understanding of what we are doing. When we've put this program together, we've been fortunate that in 3 years, a lot of people are aware of the FESTAC Africa Festival now, and people are looking at that week. And I didn't say this earlier. In 1966, FESTAC was done in April for 1 month. 1977, it was done in January. And we realized that to get Pan-Africanism and African on our people's mind, we need to keep the project on in May because being African month, it has to be made for consistency. Also because May 25th is Africa Day. We wanted the festival to rotate around Africa Day so that people don't forget Africa Day. So once we put that in place, a lot of organizations are now looking and saying, we want to be part of you. So let me read to you some of the side events that's going to happen during the week so you can see that there's something for everybody during the week. We're going to have a 2-day Africa-Asia Summit. There are a lot of Asian families in Africa, dates back to 3, 4, 5 generations. And so in the interest of doing FESTAC of today as openness and inclusion, we are doing a 2-day Africa-Asia Investment Forum. There's going to be also a 2-day travel and tourism. We believe Africans need to travel Africa. It's very common for us to pack our bags and go to other continents. I mean, while we have so much beauty on our continent, and people are coming in to travel our continent, and as people, we don't travel the continent enough. And I'm going to digress by saying this. In Kisumu, because we are so close to the equator, every evening between 6:30 and 7 p.m., you can stand by the lake and for about 3 to 5 minutes, you can actually watch the sun disappear on the horizon on the other side of the lake every day. And these are things that people pay a lot of money to come and see on our continent. And we don't even
Exactly.
realize what we have. And the list goes on. You have a suspending rock that are naturally formed that you have to ask yourself, oh my God, where does this come from? We have Masai Mara, okay, where you can see migration. So, I mean, the list goes on all those things. We want all of us to come and enjoy the continent also. We have the writers' retreat, which is we want our youth to know how to write not only stories about Africa, but know how to communicate and represent Africa very well. We have another a day called the media retreat also, which is also on blogging and reporting, on African issues. The Kenya Dental Association, they heard about what we are doing, and they are coming to spend a day of one of their festivals with us during the festival. We have the Pan African Architect Alliance. They are trying to get us to start building with African materials, and they are also coming in to do a one-day seminar on it. We have a 3-day Agric and Food Summit, because agric and food is important in Africa, and that is in collaboration with the country of Botswana, Lesotho, and the county of Mombasa in Kenya. We have the climate change and carbon issues to deal with today, issues on climate change. And with that, on Africa Day, there will be tree planting for everyone that comes to Kisumu that week. Will have a chance to plant a tree on their name. We have the daily movie screening, as I said. We have an environment prepared for the kids to just do movies and screen, give them opportunity to get used to opportunities in movie screening. We have the Afrofusion Fashion Show, a day on fashion show to promote not only the fashion side of Africa, but also even the manufacturing of fashion as an industry that we can actually grow on the continent. We have the culinary experience. We have the storytelling boma, because as Africans, as you know, a lot of wisdom is passed down through our parents on storytelling. So there will be an evening of storytelling to bring all those things back. There is also focused on women in leadership, women entrepreneurship, because we believe women being more than half of our population, we need to maximize the women that we have on the continent and beyond in the diaspora, that we can actually gain a lot by inclusion and making sure we maximize the women in our lives. There's also anti-gender based violence campaign that's just going to be awareness to just people that are not only women but also men, but just part of our CSR to talk about coming together. There's of course culture. There's going to be a stage for cultural shows from all over the world, from about 11 a.m. in the morning till midnight every day, different cultures globally. There's going to be talent activation on the sports which I mentioned before. There's golf for the executives, and there's table tennis, basketball, para volleyball, even board games for our older community that cannot really run around, sit down and play board games. Of course, I mentioned the exhibition trade and the networking. It's going to be nothing but a week of fun and entertainment. I haven't gotten into our lineup of big musical stars that we have. We have line that we're already talking to, signing up the agreement to put them the next week or so. You start seeing the names getting released. There's going to be a 2-day youth empowerment program to be led by no other than Professor Pielo Lumumba, who does a youth empowerment to make sure our children know that tomorrow belongs to them and give an opportunity and bring in some of our youth that are already successful in different fields in the world and have a lot of followership so others can learn from them. There's a diaspora mobilization. We're in partnership with the State of the African Diaspora to make sure we bring the value of diaspora in terms of the fintech, in terms of knowledge, in terms of wisdom on things that the diaspora can also bring to us that we can enjoy. And again, the list goes on and on. In the exhibition area, we have the medical area health section, where we have free health screening, a field dental screening, opportunity to talk to doctors about mental health, and just creating an environment While we are having fun, people are also learning a lot to go along with that. We are working with the ministries. We are working with the universities. We have about 7 or 8 universities we are working with, focusing on Pan Africanism and utilizing their knowledge into what we are doing. We have a CEO networking program where we also want the CEOs to look at where we are and think about how to add value to it. Last but not the least, we have the Africa Day Gala dinner
Mm-hmm.
on that day, May 25th, where everybody invited us to wear something local, tribal outfits, so that we
Mm-hmm.
can get all of us to be comfortable in promoting our own. So that's just a little bit of the excitement that we have planned. That is something for everybody during the week.
Definitely something for everybody, and it's gonna be a packed week of activities and program for everyone. And what do you think? So what are the needs? You have the program. You have, I presume you already have, participation from different, in different capacity. So what would you need more from anyone listening right now, or a message that you want them to convey, or how do you need they can help or get involved, anything specific?
I think the first thing we need is participation.
Mhm.
More than anything else, we've written to a lot of government around the world, and I said world on purpose, not only Africa. There are a few things that we are asking people to come and do. The world can be a better place if we all know one another better. What we're asking the countries, in some cases, there are some states within some countries in Africa that are bigger than some of the countries existing. So if your country is big enough where a state can stand on its own, let them stand on its own. If the county can stand on its own, let them stand on its own. But what we want you to do, come and take a space in the festival. Come bring 10 to 20 of your SMEs to come and promote what they have and get opportunity to think beyond their local. Come and take the space, promote your food, your fashion, your culture. Come and display your agricultural products so people will know that, oh, okay, in this geography, this thing grows in this geography. We want Africans to talk and trade together. So, because what has happened a lot of time when you do look at the volume, big volume purchase items, we end
Mhm.
up going to people, some people call buyers, and the buyers come between two African countries, and in doing so, they take the margin in the transaction. And when you wonder why the percentages of inter-Africa trade is not going up, that's one of the biggest reasons why. So if you and I know one another, we can trade better and move and get inter-Africa to be better. The other thing is that we need sponsorship because we can't do this alone. We need philanthropists, we need corporations, we need government to come in. I mean, when this project was done in 66, 77, it was a governmental program. So there was deep pockets to do a lot of things. We've programmed ourselves. If we have a lot of funds, we'll do something very huge. If we don't have a lot of funds, we'll do something very small. But one thing I will guarantee you, which I've told a few of our leaders, is that this project will never die again because in 1966 it died for 11 years. In 1977 it died for 45 years. And it's our responsibility to use arts and culture as a platform to come together as one nation. And when I say that, I mean our brothers and sisters. I mean, if you go back to 1977, you have participants from Ecuador, Bolivia, Colombia, France, England, US, Italy. So we need our people from all over the world. We've got last year we had people from Costa Rica, from Brazil. This year we are even expecting people from Turkey,
Mhm.
Germany, and some of the countries I mentioned earlier. So the plate is getting bigger. And I think by all of us coming together, we can really understand ourselves better, appreciate ourselves better, and by having the oneness, the benefit is beyond. We can't
Mhm.
say no benefit. So we need support, we need sponsorship. Anyone can go onto the platform. www.festacafrica.org, www.festacafrica.org. Look at what we are doing on the platform and find a way to see how to support us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for so for the audience. It is, it has been laid out. What are the needs? Share with your network, and get to participate. Bring what you have. Bring everything that you can value, and be part of this festival. We're gonna have a break, and we'll come back just to conclude on this conversation. I hope you enjoy, the conversation, and the most important thing, we want you to share, to really go out and talk about this event, this festival that is coming up, that is coming your way in May this year. So don't go anywhere. We will be back in few minutes. So there's something for everyone, as as you could hear today. And so, Engineer Yinka, just, before we leave this platform, any particular message you want to leave the audience with before we close on this conversation?
I think the first thing I would say is, if you don't come, you're going to miss out. This is going to be the biggest thing happening in terms of putting Pan-Africanism together, both virtually and in reality in the minds of our people. We've put a very solid program together in terms of also supporting you with side trips to make sure when you come, I mean, we don't even want you to come for that just 1 week. Plan to spill over, do some safari. Come and see Kenya if this is your first time coming to Kenya. Or if your first time on the continent, we can actually help you with some of our team to help you curate something to come with, maybe a family trip, a reunion somewhere from our people in the diaspora. We have the airline discounts from some of our African airlines. Kenya Airways is giving anyone coming a 15% discount. Ethiopian Airlines is giving 15% discount. Safari Link is giving 7%. And we are talking to other airlines, which you can see them on our platform. Then the idea of the visa, there's a ETA program for Kenya now that you need to check and follow on our link to know how to come into Kenya. Everybody is welcome. Don't miss out. This is an opportunity for us to revive Pan-Africanism, to revive what was tried to do for us as a continent post-colonialism. We haven't moved far as people since the 50s and the 60s. And the only way for us to move together is, first of all, coming together through fun. If we a lot of time we've been together through conferences, seminar, we have all those things. Everybody go back home, they throw the business cards in the trash can, and things are not moving. So we've to to work together, we have to dine together first. So the whole idea is to create a platform where we all come together in a soft environment. If we meet in a soft way, we are bound to exchange numbers and call one another. If we call one another, the trust level and factor will increase. We all have the same challenges in our countries all over the continent and beyond. But coming together as one and knowing we have a common interest in developing Pan-Africanism, don't miss out. This is the way to be. We look forward to your participation and we look forward to welcoming you in Kisumu. And eventually the festival will rotate around to the point where the eye of the festival moves to other countries to bring more awareness. But any country where we have been, we expect that country to continue the legacy every year going. And that's the only way we will make the continent come together and we become one again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer Yinka, for giving us so much insight on the FESTAC of Africa. And like you said, we can't miss it. We have to be there. That's where everything is going to happen in May. And you clearly said it. We have to come together in a soft way. We've tried conferences, we've tried all kind of things. It looks like it's not it's not bringing us anywhere. So let's try this way and come back together. And please share with your network. There is a lot for everyone. So don't be shy. There is a website where you can have most of the information, but also Engineer Yinka, how do people connect personally with you as well?
Yes, I think the best way is to go through that website. And also, my first name is Yinka. So if you say Yinka at festacafrica.org, you would also get me. You can write to me directly with my first name or write to info, because info is the clearinghouse for all the mails, our secretariat, to make sure any mail does not drop. Those will be the best way to get hold of us. And I'm going to repeat what you asked me this earlier, Muriel. We need every one of us to contribute to Pan-Africanism. It's now one person's job. If you have Africa in stress, if Pan-Africanism is inside you, you have to be part of FESTAC Africa. We have a lot of businesses out there, both big conglomerates and small businesses. If there's any platform for you to join, this is the one to join. We're also using this platform to encourage people that may have started a business in their own country, but didn't know how to go beyond their country. This is an opportunity for you to come and meet people from other countries, use the platform to also grow your business continent-wide and again beyond. We look forward to our families and friends from the diaspora, which they are a big part of what we are doing. We are moving Pan-Africanism forward and we are making it one nation. Thank you very much, Miriam, for having me. It's been a wonderful day.
It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. And I definitely, it's definitely going to spread. The word is going to go out and we will be coming in mass, in May in Kisumu. And thanks for your time. Thanks for all your dedication to bring this event and to really push, Pan-Africanists, because it is important to come together as Pan-African and really, create the Africa that we all want. And that's what it's all about at the end of the day. So thank you very much for your time. And thank you very much again for all the work with your team. And it has been a pleasure to spend this time with you, and really get this information going out to my audience, and particularly to my audience in the diaspora as well. So thank you very much for your time, and I really appreciate you coming and sharing that with you. Thank you.
Thank
I will be back for another episode of the Greatness Show next week. And next week we will be going to the US. So stay tuned. I will be back next week with another, amazing, amazing guest. So that's all for today. Thank you for being with us. And I hope to see you next week again. Bye.
thank you.